How would Street Fighter 2 look with over 400 characters? Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if I told you this wild version actually exists? Imagine a roster so massive that it includes nearly every sprite-based fighter from the golden age of arcade fighting games. Characters you know, characters you forgot, and even some you never expected to throw down in the Street Fighter ring. This title is literally insane, so I am sure you are keen to see and hear more. With all of this said, join me today as we cover how such a crazy game came to be, what it brings to the table, and most importantly, why. In this insane twist on the classic game, we're diving deep into a weird, ambitious version of Street Fighter 2 that takes the iconic roster and expands it to all new jaw-dropping proportions. So buckle up, because this is no ordinary edition of the classic. In this chaotic outing, everyone, and I mean everyone, wants a piece of the action. So, hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. This is the ridiculous Street Fighter 2 Deluxe Edition, a version of the game with over 400 illegals. Yeah. Street Fighter is on fire, and Street Fighter 6 has taken the series to thrilling new heights. This game doesn't just honour its roots, it supercharges them, delivering a high-energy experience that keeps players coming back for more. And here's the best part. I've got a massive discount lined up for you on both the Ultimate Edition of this game and the Year 2 Ultimate Pass, where you can play as M. Bison, Terry Bogard, and even soon my Shiranui for the first time. You'll get up to 90% off on thousands of retro and modern games, so grab these deals through my links in the pinned comment. Happy shopping and enjoy the fight! Modern Street Fighter games are fantastic, but nothing compares to the magic of Street Fighter 2 that first drew me in. The nostalgia from that classic still outshines anything I've felt with newer entries. From the striking character sprites to the unforgettable music and electric atmosphere, there's just something about this iconic game that hits on a whole other level. So while I've loved the Street Fighter Alpha games and every new chapter in the franchise, there's always been a part of me longing for something more, a true expansion on the foundation of Street Fighter 2. Now, you might think I'm trolling, given the endless editions of Street Fighter 2 Capcom have thrown our way. But when I say I want them to build on Street Fighter 2, I mean really expand it. I'm talking about a huge new roster, and tons of fresh new stages. And no, Evil Ryu and Violent Ken don't count. They're just our fan favourites, waking up on the wrong side of the bed, not true new characters. Aside from a few alternate versions of existing fighters, Street Fighter 2's roster hasn't seen any real expansion in over 30 years. A huge missed opportunity in my opinion, especially with an entire generation still obsessed with this classic game. For so many fans like myself, Street Fighter 2 remains the ultimate nostalgic fighting game, so naturally we want more of it. And that's exactly what the infamous illegal Street Fighter 2 Deluxe Edition delivers. An unlicensed version packed with pure madness, bringing our wildest Street Fighter 2 dreams to life in ways we never thought possible. But what's even better is this game isn't just a tribute to the arcade classic that set the blueprint for all fighting games. It's a homage to the entire era of fighting games that launched alongside Street Fighter 2. The Deluxe Edition layers nostalgic memories upon nostalgic memories, pulling in iconic elements from fighters across the genre, making it a dream come true for any true fan who can remember this time period. Deluxe Edition is sensational, and if you're a more casual internet user, you might be pondering how such a game was created in the first place. Well, to put it simply, Deluxe Edition is what is known as a Mugan game. Mugan is a Japanese word for infinite, and a Mugan game is a 2D fighting title that uses the Mugen engine, a customizable video game engine that allows users to create their own fighters, stages and game modes. The engine was developed by Elecbyte and first released in 1999. Mugen is known for its flexibility and the vast array of characters that can be created or imported from various franchises, effectively allowing fans to craft their own dream matchups and fighting game experiences. Mugen quickly gained a following due to its versatility and the ease with which users could create complex fighting games. Users could import sprites and sounds from classic arcade games or create entirely original content, leading to a proliferation of characters from various genres and media. Users can design characters with unique moves, create new graphics, and adjust gameplay mechanics. This has led to a vast community where creators share their custom characters, stages, and even full games. As the community grew, so did the range of what Mugen could do. This included full games featuring characters from multiple universes, custom designed for fan-made crossovers that would not be possible in official game releases. Mugan has operated in a legal grey area due to the use of copyrighted characters and assets by its user base. However, Electbyte themselves never provided these assets, merely the tool with which to implement them. This distinction has allowed the engine to continue being distributed and used. The creation of Mugan was likely driven by a desire to democratize game development, particularly in the fighting game genre, allowing hobbyists and fans to create games that reflect their interests and fantasies without the overhead of developing a game engine from scratch. This has led to a vibrant community that continues to develop and play Mugan games, demonstrating the engine's lasting impact and appeal. The result is an ever-expanding universe of content that ranges from professional-looking additions to more quirky, homemade content. Mugan games can be single-player or multiplayer, and are both infamous and celebrated for their sometimes wildly unbalanced but fun and engaging gameplay. Street Fighter 2 Deluxe Edition is no exception to this, so let's dig deeper into this insane game. As mentioned already, one of the most striking features of this title, and reasons to want to try it out, is in part thanks to the Herculeanly large roster of fighters to choose from. If you thought Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was massive and chaotic, well, it has absolutely nothing on Deluxe Edition. As you can see, the character select screen is absolutely stacked. It's almost overwhelming, in the best way possible of course, with so many unique fighters to choose from, each with a striking portrait that screams personality. You could easily spend ages just scrolling through the lineup, and while fans may feel a twinge of choice paralysis, let's be honest, most of you will end up going with Ryu anyway. Still, the sheer variety is a testament to how Deluxe Edition celebrates the iconic legacy of its source material, and the classic fighting game medium as a whole. There are certainly enough characters here that there are options present that will feel fresh and exciting for every player, whether they're a die-hard loyalist or looking to try out a new favourite. This is lunacy that everyone can dive headfirst into. Speaking of the roster, as mentioned already, the game is packed to the brim with different characters from this glorious sprite-based era of gaming. And when I say this era of sprite-based gaming, I mean from about 1991 to 1994 specifically. These fighters all have that vintage feel, aligning perfectly with the originals from Street Fighter 2, giving the roster an authentic, cohesive vibe. So don't expect Street Fighter Alpha sprites anywhere here, and definitely no roster members from, say, Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct, since those franchises featured completely different graphical styles. This approach helps keep the game feeling somewhat uniform, creating a polished aesthetic that often is lacking in some other Mugen games. So big thumbs up to Deluxe Edition for delivering such seamless consistency in the graphics department. As stated, the roster of fighters we do get is predominantly from video games from that 3-year time span I just mentioned, so of course you will be able to find all your favourite characters from popular fighters, such as the Fatal Fury games, Art of Fighting, and the Samurai Showdown series. So all of the famous faces are present from Capcom's top competitors, and some not so famous ones too, meaning you'll encounter the roster from less celebrated franchises such as Fighters History, World Heroes, and even the Double Dragon Neo Geo fighting game, which means that even Bimmy and Jimmy are both here. What might shock you though is that the lineup of characters from different fighting games gets way more obscure than these lesser talked about titles, as the game encompasses characters from the likes of Voltage Fighter from Technos of Japan, Knuckleheads by Namco, Ninja Masters and Aggressors of Dark Combat by ADK, and the often forgotten Savage Rain and Kizuna Encounter, two fighting games that are set in Southtown's distant future, many years after the events of Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting games. Maybe all of these games deserve deeper coverage on here in the future, so be sure to hit the subscribe button if you do not want to miss those. But it's not just characters from fighting games who receive representation here. A number of characters from the original Final Fight trilogy are also present, represented by their sprite work from said games. This means some characters such as Damned, for example, become playable for the first time in a 2D environment, which is far less depressing than getting to play as him in the dreadful Final Fight Revenge. Roster members from Cadillacs and Dinosaurs can also be found in the game, as well as characters from Capcom's The Punisher beat-em-up, the first collaborative effort between Marvel and Capcom. Even the King of Monsters franchise gets some love here. This is a celebration of a fun few years in gaming. But here is where it gets even better. It seems that some characters who originally never had Street Fighter 2 like sprites have had versions created for Mugan games. This means using reused sprites as a base, Street Fighter 2 versions of both Dan Hibiki and Shun Matsuda exist and can be utilised in this game. On the subject of completely custom characters, sprite versions of characters from Virtua Fighter, Tekken and even Fighting Vipers have been made in Mugen, so there is even representation of characters from the polygonal world in this unbelievable title, even if they do look a little cruder than most of the officially drawn sprites. Saturday Night Slam Masters, Capcom's wrestling game series featuring Mike Hager, has also seen its roster transplanted into the game, as well as the lineup of playable characters who appear in the beat-em-up known as Captain Commando, with both of these franchises occurring canonically in the exact same universe as Final Fight and Street Fighter, so it's nice to see them all featured in this same tributary game. Aside from the gigantic character roster, there are of course a huge number of different stage backdrops from the time period too. But one of my favourite aspects of Deluxe Edition is the enhanced movesets that many of the characters in the game have been fitted with. So let's run over some of the coolest stuff that I have witnessed. Dalsim, for example, aside from his usual stretchy attacks and fire breathing techniques, must have eaten a particularly spicy vindaloo, as now he can do extra large yoga flames. What makes this even more ethnically amazing is that he can now ride on an elephant, who uses its trunk to pick up opponents and slam them hard into the ground. Building on this lunacy, Sagat can not only do tiger knees and tiger uppercuts, but can execute attacks where he unleashes literal tigers onto his opponents. I think these moves look great. Speaking of exotic creatures, you might be aware that you need to defeat Ryu's Dragon Punch to stand a chance, but in the deluxe version, that is just that bit tougher, as his Dragon Punch can unleash a literal dragon. Speaking of things being taken way too literally, his hurricane kicks can now generate actual hurricanes. It's like whoever made these had this ultra-focused autistic drive to make sure every move name is exactly what it says on the tin, and I'm all for it. Zangief has some new ridiculous moves too. For example, he can transform into the formidable Metal Zangief from the Capcom Vs series and execute crazy mechanical attacks using missiles. The most mental of these though is the fact that he can now take opponents high into the sky and pile drive them into the ground from above the clouds. This hilarious super move makes such an impact that just like the Tsar bomb that Russia threatened the West with, a giant mushroom cloud forms and the hammer and sickle are splashed across the screen, symbolising a historic victory on behalf of the motherland. Blanca's moveset is now more electrifying than ever, and then Bison can create even larger torrents of psycho energy. Added to the fun, DJ now has an attack where he can play Jamaican steel pans in combat, and perhaps best of all, Guile can summon a fighter jet to carpet bomb his opponents. It's like the developers thought, what could be more American than solving all of your problems with a nice tactical airstrike? If none of this is enough for you, if you just want to see more of the characters in action, the game has a watch battle mode, so you can see any dream match unfold before your eyes. But one of the most insane features this one has to offer Evolve though is the fact that Street Fighter 2 Deluxe has tag team matches, players. Holla holla holla! That's right, rather than going one-on-one with The Undertaker, or having one-on-one bouts at all for that matter like in the official Street Fighter 2 games, now you can have chaotic 2-on-2 encounters. Bringing the madness this game brings to the table up yet another notch. This game is so much more than just a Street Fighter 2 tribute. As you would have seen from all of this, Deluxe Edition has a crazy amount of content and different characters on offer, and although they're extremely broken in parts due to the fact that assets from so many different games have been slapped together, this doesn't mean that this Windows game doesn't offer a good window of opportunity to deliver buckets upon buckets of fun. The game is mad, it's broken, it's completely unbalanced, but who cares? Everyone is here. There is no way that anyone could play this game and not come away extremely amused by its absolute insanity. Don't forget I can get you a huge discount on both Street Fighter 6 and its Year 2 Season Pass, as well as up to 90% off of thousands of retro and modern games, so grab these deals through my link in the pinned comments. Happy shopping and enjoy the fight! Yeah, cheerio!